When I married Matthew 3 years ago, I knew I was marrying into more than just a relationship. I was stepping into a family. His son, Jacob, had just turned 16 at the time. A quiet, kind-hearted kid who kept to himself, Jacob was the type to retreat to his room after school, headphones on, face buried in his laptop. I tried to bond with him. I really did. But being a stepmother isn't always easy. Especially not when your stepson is going through things he doesn't even know how to talk about. By the time Jacob turned 18, things had shifted. He was still quiet, but there was something different in the air. I caught him glancing at himself in mirrors with frustration, staring at his phone for hours, and sighing deeply at the dinner table. He had lost weight, grown taller, and his voice had dropped another octave, the final signs of adolescence giving way to young adulthood. Matthew, his father, was loving but often distracted with work. So naturally, Jacob came to me one evening, nervously, awkwardly, not knowing how to say what was on his mind. We were in the kitchen. I was folding laundry on the island counter when he hovered at the doorway. "Hey, Lisa, can I ask you something? And can it stay between us?" he asked, his voice shaky. My heart jumped a little. It's always scary hearing that from a teenager. I nodded, putting the towel down. "Of course, Jacob. Whatever it is, I won't judge." He rubbed the back of his neck and took a deep breath. "So, I have a problem. It's kind of embarrassing. It's not like bad or dangerous or anything. Just frustrating." I waited patiently. Silence filled the space between us. He finally blurted it out. "My feet. My sneakers. I have size 12s now and nothing fits. Like, I literally cannot find the right shoes. Every store in town is sold out of the wide sizes and I trip all the time. I twisted my ankle yesterday going down the stairs." I blinked for a second, trying to keep my face composed. That wasn't what I expected, but I immediately relaxed. "You mean your shoes?" "Yeah," he said, relieved that I didn't laugh. "My feet are huge now, and I think they're still growing. But Dad's been too busy, and I didn't want to bug him. I don't want to make it a big deal, but I just can't walk comfortably anymore." I smiled. "That's not silly at all, Jacob. I'm really glad you told me. Let's fix this." He looked up at me with genuine gratitude, and I could see in his eyes how much the discomfort had been wearing him down. Over the next couple of days, I made it my mission to help. We drove to every outlet mall within a 50-mile radius. Most stores didn't carry what he needed. His feet weren't just size 12, they were 12 wide, and that combination is rare in brick-and-mortar shops. One store manager even said, "We usually don't carry those unless they're ordered online." So I turned to the internet. We measured his feet precisely with a printable sizing guide and determined he'd need supportive soles because of the pressure on his arches. I found a few brands that specialized in athletic shoes for larger feet, ordered a couple of pairs, and had them shipped express. But the story didn't end there. About a week later, Jacob came into the living room wearing one of the new pairs. "They feel amazing," he said, grinning. "Seriously, I can't believe the difference." He walked around the hardwood floor, clearly more confident, shoulders back, head held higher. That's when he said something that truly broke my heart. I was so embarrassed. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought having big feet meant I'd always be awkward or weird. I sat him down. "Jacob, there's nothing wrong with your body. Everyone develops differently. There's no normal size. You're healthy, strong, and you're growing into yourself. It just takes time." He nodded, but I could tell he wasn't just talking about his feet anymore. He was talking about the identity struggles, the physical changes, and the psychological weight of transitioning from boyhood to manhood. As summer came around, Jacob started opening up more. He asked me questions he didn't feel comfortable asking his dad, things about grooming, confidence, clothes, even how to approach college interviews. He respected Matthew, but our relationship had taken on a new, unique trust. I never overstepped. I always told him, "I'm not your mom. I'll never try to replace her. But I'm here to help however I can." One afternoon, I found Jacob in the garage, trying to fix his bike. He had outgrown that too. His knees were almost hitting the handlebars. I laughed and said, "I think you've graduated to a man-sized bike." We drove to the local sports shop and bought a new one together. As we wheeled it out of the store, he turned to me and said, "Thanks for not making me feel weird about anything. Most people just say I'm being dramatic or tell me to suck it up. You actually listen." That sentence stayed with me. Being a parent, biological or step, is less about authority and more about presence. Listening, holding space, understanding the quiet ways young people cry for help. Jacob didn't need someone to fix him. He needed someone to help him adapt to the world that was suddenly too small for his growing frame, literally and emotionally. When school started again, Jacob wore his new sneakers with pride. He even joined the basketball team, something he had been avoiding for years because he was afraid of tripping or looking awkward. He texted me a picture of himself at practice, captioned, "12-inch problem officially solved." And in that moment, I realized that helping Jacob with his 12-inch problem wasn't about feet at all. It was about seeing a young man struggling to fit into shoes, yes, but also into life, into expectations, into his own skin. And sometimes, the greatest help we can offer is believing in someone when they're still figuring out how to believe in themselves. A year later, Jacob got accepted into a university out of state. The night before he left, he came into the kitchen again, just like that day when it all started. "I packed my old shoes in the box," he said, chuckling, "just to remind myself of how far I've come." I gave him a hug. "You've grown into a remarkable young man, Jacob, and you're just getting started." That evening, Matthew told me, "You've done more for him than I could have imagined. You didn't just help with shoes. You helped him stand tall in every way." And that's the truth. Sometimes, what seems like a small problem, a shoe size, a trip, a complaint, is actually the gateway to something much deeper. We just have to be willing to look past the surface and lend a hand, or a heart, where it's most needed. Because everyone has their own version of a 12-inch problem. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to help, truly help, to make all the difference.